live. That's pretty straight, no? Ish.
Sure.
All right, Carrie is here. Welcome. And Homestead Nana's here from Massachusetts. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Yeah, so it's been a couple weeks. Been super busy. We've missed seeing everybody live, but needed some time to. Sam needed to finish up classes, and then I've been working a small job, just a 1-month contract, and I've been trying to devote as much time as possible to working, so I haven't been doing as much content creating because I needed those hours to work. So, but we thought we could spare a little time tonight. We'd love to chat with you guys and get everybody caught up what's going on. So, yeah. So, Sam, how did school go?
Good. We passed our classes. I was a little bit disappointed. In Med-Surg 2, I ended up getting a B by 0.1%, so that stung a little bit. But that's not the easiest class ever, so I'm still proud of myself finishing strong. I got an A in the other class, and in nursing school there is no like
Pluses.
A plus, A minus, but it's just a straight A or B. Like that's how they count it. So anyway, I ended strong. I did find out that I don't think I was able to say this last time. I don't think they had told us by the last time we did our live stream. But I'm going to do my practicum on a labor and delivery floor. And I also just today actually sent an email and accepted a job in St. Louis on a labor and delivery floor. So I'm really excited about that. I wasn't too sure about it. I felt like for a long time that's kind of what I wanted to do, but I guess if I'm honest, I didn't want to get judged for that decision.
For being a man.
For being a guy and wanting to go on that unit. But I'm really excited with the decision, and I'm excited that I finally just went for it. I had to work for it a little bit though, because I don't know if labor and delivery is if that's a unit that a lot of people want to work for, or if it's a unit that doesn't have as much turnover. But there weren't very many spots open, and I probably had to went through like 7 or 8 hospitals, a lot of them in St. Louis too, so not just like small local hospitals, but some in St. Louis before I finally found a spot. I was really nervous going to interview for it because they said they had 10 spots open. It's a graduate nurse residency, so that means that there'll be some more education the first like 6 months to a year that I'm there. That's like specifically pertaining to labor and delivery. But they said they had 10 spots and they had over 60 applicants for it already. And the job doesn't start until September. So I was really nervous going in, and I haven't had a true interview probably since I started my church job. Most of the other interviews I've had, like honestly, they've been like, "Hey, look,
if you can pass the drug test,
yeah,
you get the job.
you don't look like you're on drugs. Like, we're gonna hire you." Like, didn't ask me any questions at all. So I felt a little rusty going into this interview. It was with 2 nurse managers at the hospital in St. Louis, but I felt like I did a good job. I told Laura afterwards. The only thing I felt like there are 2 things going into it. I told Laura, if there's over 60 applicants, it's like, I gotta stand out.
I think
somehow.
You already stand out in the crowd of 22-year-old female nursing
And
students.
she was like, Laura's like, well, honestly, you're a 37-year-old man, and I think that's gonna set you apart. That your age and that you're a guy. And what else was I gonna say?
There were 2 things you were worried about?
Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. 2 things I was worried about. I totally lost my train of thought. But when they were asking their interview questions, it mostly pertained to just how do you get along with others and handle conflict. So my 37 years of life, I feel like helped me answer those questions correctly. Oh, I was nervous. That's what I was gonna say. I was nervous. I told Laura afterwards because when they asked me why I wanted to do labor and delivery, I wasn't able to be like, oh, this is just my dream job. I've wanted to do this like my whole life. I wasn't that kind of a thing. And I was like, I don't know if I conveyed that I was like passionate enough about it that they would appreciate that. But apparently it went great. So I did an interview. It was probably like, well, it wasn't that long, maybe 30 or 40 minutes. And then I did an observation on the floor and actually got to watch a birth. So that was cool. I probably stayed there for a couple hours and just followed a nurse around. And before I even got home, I had an email giving me an offer. So I was super excited about that.
Did good. All right, we missed a whole bunch of people here.
Okay, sorry.
All right,
I
Beth is
rambled.
here from Illinois, and Heidi, welcome. Adele, Bonnie in Idaho, Grammy is here. Heidi says, "Oh wow, boy, you weren't exaggerating. Lots of news. Yeah, there's been lots going on."
Rusty from New Mexico.
And Heidi says, "Congrats on the job."
Thank you.
Deplorable CB Block. Wow, a job on top of all you do. Excuse me. And then Homestead Nana says, "Congrats." Arkansas Prepper and Empty Nester and Chris are all here. And Heidi wants to know how long of a drive this is.
It's going to be probably like an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes.
For reference, to go to school, which is not in St. Louis, it's the other way. But he was driving an hour and 15 minutes.
Well, like an hour and 5
Yeah,
or so.
to go to school and to do all his practicum at that hospital. So
I felt like...
we're already doing that driving.
The closest, like, decent-sized hospital, if I wanted to do labor and delivery, the closest hospital would be about 45 minutes away. And I called them. They said they had no openings, except that they'd keep my name in the hat if one popped open. So that one was off the table. And then I called and talked to a few recruiters for the SSM hospitals in St. Louis. And there's like 7 or 8 of them that have labor and delivery departments. And they were not hiring until 2024, like in September, for labor and delivery nurses. So I told Laura, I was like, I feel like I kind of had to fight for this job a little bit and call around. The other frustrating thing is, for a lot of these hospitals, they don't list what units they're hiring for. They just say, oh, we're hiring for all units. And you have to go and do a preliminary interview and say, well, this is actually what I'm looking for. And then they'll tell you, oh, well, we don't actually have openings there. So that was a little frustrating. So we had to work for it a little bit. So I felt like I earned it. And I'm excited about it. I am glad too. So this has a residency program. So they have continuing education that's focused on labor and delivery. And I'm excited about that too, because I checked in, and some hospitals do have residency programs, but they don't actually offer a lot of education centered on your unit. And so I think that'll do me good to at least the first like 6 months to a year, have a little bit more focused education on what I'm going to be doing. I think it's going to prepare me really well. This hospital, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think they deliver the most babies in St. Louis. And so I'm excited to work there because I think I'm gonna see everything I need to see to get experience at a big hospital like that. Like, they're gonna have it all. So I think it's all around. It's gonna be really good. The drive might kind of stink for a little bit, but where we live, that's just gonna happen.
Everybody wants to live in the country until you realize you need a job that pays well, and then you don't have any options unless you're willing to drive. So one thing that we have talked about, we have family that lives near St. Louis, and so he may not come home every time.
Yeah, there might be some times where I spend the night with family for a night or two. Let's see. Heidi says, Grammy says excited for you. Tammy says congratulations. Heidi says free education with the job. Actually get paid for this education. What they'll do is, I'm scheduled to work 3 days a week. And what they'll do initially is like I'll go and I'll work 2 days, and then one day will be like an education day where we learn. But I get paid for it, so how about that?
Let's see. Adele says labor and delivery nurses stay forever.
Mm-hmm.
And Pam says, I'm a little late, but she's here. Welcome. Bill and Celia are here. Karen says congrats. And J and B are here. And Kelly is here. Welcome, everybody. And Natalie is here from Indiana. And Heidi says, after hours, you still have all that drive. You're going to be in constant exhaustion. Well, he's been working 7 days a week for a long time, too, which was constantly exhausting.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to him having days off.
I think, I felt like I was in constant exhaustion to begin with. So I probably will still be tired, but I'll have 4 days off, which I've had that before, I guess.
I don't know.
Well, no, maybe
not
not.
Since we've had kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be amazing, and we'll be making pretty good money. So that makes it, I feel like, worthwhile. But anyway.
And we do think after he gets some experience, if he does want to drive less, eventually transfer to one of the closer hospitals because he'd no longer be a new grad nurse once he has a few years under his belt.
Yeah, I think
because right now what's hard to find are the grad nurse positions.
Yeah, once you have experience. See. Heidi says, let's see, Jepco's there, and Charlie and Judy. Let's see. Heidi says 42 watching and 13 likes. Hit that thumbs up button. We do appreciate that. J&B says, congrats, Sam. That was a lot for you and the family too, but very responsible for the future. We're excited. We really are. Can't wait for September now. I still have to get through practicum and pass my NCLEX, so there's still a couple big hurdles, but the end is in sight.
We can see the end at the
end.
end.
And it feels really good that I haven't even graduated yet. We're in May. And I already have a job lined up for September. Like, that's kind of mind-blowing. That's awesome. Like, I don't even have to worry or stress about that. You know, finishing school and then being like, well, I hope we can find something. Like, we already know. It's really, really nice. Let's see. Heidi says she was an annoying fan. Okay. She changed her name. Oh, okay. Nice. Awesome. Now we know.
Pam says, which hospital? I missed and can't scroll. It's a hospital it's a system in St. Louis.
I'll be at I don't mind telling people. Okay. I'll be at Mercy Hospital in St. Louis. There's a number of Mercy hospitals in the area. And one thing that's kind of nice is I do have to sign a contract with them for a couple years, which was out of all the things with the hospital, it's kind of the biggest bummer, I would say. But if I don't like that hospital or I don't like that unit, I can transfer to any Mercy that I want to, and it still won't be breaking my contract. And I can travel to any unit that I want to as well if I want to transfer. So that's nice. I still have some options even though I would have a contract. And there is a Mercy hospital slightly closer, but their labor and delivery unit is much, much smaller. So let's see.
I picked my nose. Yeah, I got to put garnish on my coffee. So Heidi's got to go take care of evening animal chores. So have fun out there. Hopefully it's nice where you are.
Yeah, it's pretty nice out at our place tonight. It's not too bad at all.
Pam says she had one child at St. John's Mercy.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and Pete is here from Vermont. Thanks for joining us, Pete. Hope all is well.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I had a few siblings born at St. John's. I think maybe 2 of them were born at St. John's. I'm not sure.
So Bonnie says awesome news. So feeling good about that.
Yep. And now right now I'm in the middle of like a 3-week break. And so that's nice being able to actually do things with the family, which is
taking some naps.
It's hilarious because, well, it's not hilarious. Actually, it's probably kind of sad more than anything. Because every time we go to leave the house, and I'm going too, the girls are like, so are you going to work on school? Or like, do you have to go to church to work? You know, and I'm like, no, I get to come. And they're like, oh, so when do you go to school? Like they just...
they don't get it.
They don't get it. The Daddy
is coming too.
Daddy actually gets to join you in this, wherever it is we're going. So that's been really nice. And tonight I actually just ordered my nursing pin for the ceremony. it'll be in August. So that's exciting too.
Yeah.
Got to do that tonight.
Getting all our ducks in a row. So, all right. So what else is going on? So I've been working, which I've mentioned before, but I'm doing it specifically because Annie got accepted. I don't think I've talked about this before. Maybe I have.
And not in the live stream. I don't think
Annie got a scholarship to go to a very special camp for kids with her very specific condition. These are all stroke kids who have problems with one half of their body, and so we are. So I did their big application, and it was big, and I knew that they would have lots of kids apply for very few spots, and they actually accepted Annie, which I was kind of surprised about. Not that she's not worthy, but you just know in the pile of people that apply, you know, they got to pick your child. But they picked Annie, and she has a scholarship to be able to go to this camp. But traveling comes with expenses, even though the camp is paid for. And my parents are wonderful and helped pay for the plane tickets to get us out there. But, you know, going to be gone for a little over a week, so she can go to this awesome camp where they're going to help her with her fine motor skills and things that relate to recovering from stroke injury. So we're really excited about that. So that's next month. So
you've been working your tail off.
I've been working my tail off, try to make extra money, because we're taking Annie's going to go to camp. It's a day camp, so you drop her off in the morning, you pick her up in the evening. But we're going to take the two older girls too and make kind of a trip out of it and do special things with the older girls while Annie's at camp, so they can have kind of a special experience and a special time. But that all costs extra money. So I've been working my tail end off here, trying to make as much extra money as I can so we can, you know, go to some museums or, you know, fun places for kids that they might want to go while Annie is at her camp.
And a big thank you to Laura's family and my family. They're all helping us out to make this
Watch
possible.
The other kids, shuffling people around.
For Annie to go. So we're super excited about that. Karen says, are you still going to work at the church? I won't be on staff at the church anymore, but I will still lead the worship there. So I'll still be helping out. I'll just do it.
Volunteer.
Yeah, I'll do it on a volunteer basis instead of getting paid for it. Which is kind of exciting because I feel like the church... I mean, we've been there since we graduated college. The church has done a lot for us, and it'll be nice to give back to them in that way. So I'm excited about that.
And they can use that money for other things.
Yeah. Yep.
Other programs and things.
So we'll still be involved, just in a different role, kind of.
Yeah. And then as far as the farm goes, we still have our goats and our sheep. They're getting big. And the garden, it's been a little bit of a struggle. I know I talked about that last time. So I have found, Arkansas Prepper. What is the construction manager's next plans for the garden? Well, it includes trying to dig up anything I plant. That little boy loves shovels, and he just sees dirt and goes for it. So we're having a hard time, I've noticed, starting from seed in the no-till garden bed. It dries out really fast. And so some of the comments we had in the last video, I think I should have planted deeper down and poked holes in the cardboard. And none of that stuff was anything. I've read several blogs, watched several different channels' videos who have really nice no-till gardens, and nobody ever mentioned anything about those things. But I feel like the first year must be different than every consecutive year, because it's got your first layer on there. And so what's happening with the seeds that we've tried planting is the bed just dries out too fast because the material on top is too light. And so they aren't germinating very well at all. Now, the plants that I bought pre-started, like from the store and put in the ground, those are doing great. But the roots go farther down, and so that has been kind of disappointing. It's disappointing to do so much physical labor to get that set up, and you're like, well, again, this year it's not going to be an awesome garden. Like, when, after all these years of toil, when is the garden just going to be like awesome? Maybe next year. Learning from our experiences.
You started your raised beds.
Yeah, I mean, not everything's failing. Like, we're going to get stuff from the garden, but it's not as luscious and bountiful as, I hoped it would be switching to a new method. But anytime you switch to a new method, it's a learning curve.
And each year we can keep adding on to the raised beds, too. A little bit, like 1 or 2 each year. That'll help. Let's see. J&B says, yay, Annie, and an adventure for the big girls, too. I don't know how you juggle it all. I don't know how she chickens at all either. It's incredible. Still getting frost.
Sorry, Pete. It's Vermont. You need.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
I know.
It's been, well, we've had a couple of days that were cooler.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty warm here.
It has been.
For the most
part. And it
part,
hasn't been
say.
raining, which hasn't helped. That's made it worse.
Yeah, that's the tough part. And I feel like at least twice a week for the last 3 weeks, it said that we were gonna have storms and then nothing.
Yeah, the day before
like, literally
they take them off the
nothing
schedule.
happens. Yeah. It's been kind of weird. Mrs. Peach says, "Greetings from Sacramento Valley in California. I love your little project manager."
He's cute. We think
he's pretty cute. And Pete says it's been super dry there too. Yeah, growing a garden and it being dry doesn't.
Yep.
That's a lot of watering.
But I will say it's nice. The garden is now closer to the house, closer to the hose.
Mm-hmm.
So watering it isn't nearly the task that it was in our old garden. And I think Sam's decided, we talked about maybe putting a play area inside that fence that was the old garden, but I think you decided we're just going to take it down because one less thing to have to mow around, right?
Yeah, that fence, it's falling apart. It really is. There's weeds everywhere.
It's all poison ivy.
There's a ton of poison ivy.
How do you feel about poison ivy, Sam?
I get poison ivy every year, at least once, pretty bad. I'm just severely allergic to it. I do my very best if I know I'm going to be around it. I try to not get in it at all, but if I know there's a chance I'm going to be around it, I try to wear long sleeves and gloves, and as soon as I'm done, go and take a shower, but inevitably I'll still get it at some point in time. But I think what I want to do, it's probably not going to come down this summer, but maybe this fall, I'm going to wait for everything to die really well. And then we're just going to rip it all out of there and clean it up and use it for something else. We could put different fence up there if you want it for a little kid's area or whatever.
It's one of the few areas on our farm that's actually flat. And so that makes it a good place to put a swing set or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete wants to know, Iris Lee said they got frost in Connecticut too. Yeah, I remember I grew up in Connecticut. You really couldn't plant until June. So Pete said you have stinging nettle down there too. Yes, we do. But not really. It's not like the poison ivy is everywhere.
It can be, yeah. Stinging nettle is not too bad down here. Pam says, buy yourself jewel weed soap. Okay. I'll have to look into that.
Thank you. You're big on use Fells naphtha. Isn't that what you use? When
somebody told me that.
You feel like
I don't know. I don't know if it works or not, but somebody told it to me, so I use that. And it's super cheap. Let's see. Great graduation gift.
Give him a big gallon-sized bottle. Paint you pink after you go out there.
I don't know, maybe this is weird. I've had poison ivy so much in my life, I don't even use the lotion or anything. I just don't scratch. I just like...
So sheer willpower.
I've just had it so much, I'm like, that part of it, like, obviously it still itches, but I've just like, I know how to like mind over matter it by now.
I am not allergic to poison ivy at all. Like, at this point, I have been in it with you. And it's all over the garden. Never had nothing. No rash, no itchies. It just doesn't.
There's the fence line that's right next to our wood pile it's all poison ivy. It's absolutely covered. And it's been that way for forever. I've tried to get rid of it, but I don't do a good job. Anyway, that's the poison ivy story. My dad, I inherit that from my dad and my grandma. On my dad's side.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood, yeah.
At this point, I've pretty much rolled around in it every year. And he brings it into the house and everything, so all the oils.
Let's see. Pete says, I do the mind over matter thing to deal with the black flies, which are surprisingly bad this year. Have we had flies bad?
We have flies bad every year, but still, it's not hot enough. It's got to get really hot outside, and then they come in the kitchen. I have found, if anybody needs a suggestion, the flies are like the hardest thing to deal with in the house. And last year, because the kids can't shut a door, like for some reason, it's just impossible. So they go outside and leave every door open, and all the flies come in.
And then you think like, oh, if you have a screen door, it'll be fine. It's not.
Doesn't make a difference.
Because as soon as that screen door opens, it's like the flies are like waiting at the crack. And as soon as it opens, like 30 of them just fly in.
So anyway, flies are a struggle every year. tried a lot of different things. Last year, Sam found these window stickers. They're clear, they're like rectangles, and they stick to your windows, which is where the flies like to gather, like in the morning and the night, because that's where it's hot because the sun's coming in. And they work awesome. And
Yeah, it
they
worked
are not
really well.
nearly as unsightly as having fly strips hanging from your ceiling.
That's very true.
So
Yeah, we need to
highly
go.
suggest. Yeah.
Well, I think did we just get them on Amazon?
Yeah, we just bought them on Amazon.
Yeah, they're just like it's like double-sided sticky.
Just one side sticks to your window, and then the flies stick to them.
Yeah, but it's really easy to put on your window and really easy to take off. And like Laura said, it doesn't look nearly as bad as having fly strips hanging all throughout your kitchen. But it worked well for us last year.
Yeah.
Let's see. Empty Nester says buy some Zanfil, Sam.
Okay.
And Aunt Holly says lye soap is really good
Yeah.
also. So I could see both of those working. I don't know. I'm pretty adamant about if I get into it to just go get a shower. I don't even care if I'm in the middle of a project. So I don't get it nearly as bad anymore. Now, usually what happens is I just get a couple of spots, like on my forearms, where my t-shirt may have like ridden up a little bit. I usually wear like a long sleeve t-shirt. So I don't get it nearly as bad, but I always get it every year.
Pete says our black flies are the biting kind. We have horse flies. I don't know if that's the same thing, but they bite and it really hurts.
Yeah, did you know that only female horseflies bite?
I didn't know that.
The
Well,
male,
is it only female mosquitoes bite too? Isn't that true?
I don't know about that, but I know
Okay.
with horseflies it's only females. Let's see.
Can the goats eat
Grandpa
the poison
Dan,
ivy?
yeah, Grandpa Dan asks,
Does
can the
he
goats
ask,
eat the
right?
poison ivy? I believe so. I think they can. I'm not 100% on that, but I think they can clear it up and it doesn't affect them. Diane says the black flies in upstate New York are really bad. They bite and you bleed. Ooh, that's no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the horse flies. They're not terrible at our house. We do get them. Our neighbors have cattle and stuff, which I think bring them in
Right.
a little bit more, but they're not horrible out here.
No, our biggest struggle is always wasps. And it's gotten a lot better. Like every
yeah,
year
wasps,
that we've
yeah.
lived here, but the house was empty for so long. They were just building nests in the walls and stuff. So the black flies are little like gnats, but pack a big
Ooh,
bite. They also
man.
get deer and horse flies, but later in the summer.
Oh,
Okay.
Those black flies sound like no fun. No, thank you.
Ooh, excuse me.
What
Yeah.
else we got going on? Do we have any more news?
I don't know. School's the girls have pretty much finished their school. The previous years have done school year round because it just helps to have the structure. But since Sam is on break right now and stuff, we're just taking a May break. And they have their hours, but we'll probably start doing stuff again in June. It just helps to have the structure. They won't do nearly as much as they do during the year, but we'll do a little like writing and reading kind of stuff every day. So
Just keeps them fresh.
it keeps them fresh, and it gets it keeps like things from getting chaotic. Like brings everybody into the table. We do it in the mid morning, and so calms everybody down before lunch. So that's helpful.
Chris says, according to Google, the goats can eat the poison ivy. Who'd have thunk it?
So
Well, maybe we just need to throw them in that little.
put them in the
that
oh my
white
gosh,
fence
they'd
and
be
let
in the
'em-
that's not gonna hold a goat. They'd be in the street.
I bet you could put them inside that for a little bit. They'd clear it up for like a day. Just leave them in there. They'd go in. I don't know if the sheep would eat much, but
The girls can harvest Grandpa Dan's sweet potatoes. All right,
ooh,
or
there you go.
regular potatoes. So,
They
yeah.
like doing that, don't they?
Yeah, the potatoes are fun. You just knock the tires over. It's really easy. Gotta head out. Put the animals to bed. Glad I could catch them. It's good to see you, Pete. Thanks for clicking the like button. It helps us out. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Have a good
Pete.
night.
Yep, have a good night.
So-
Have a good week.
I think that's about all we have going on. We wanted to just do a live stream and kind of say hi because I know our videos. Still trying to get out 3 a week is what I'm aiming for. We got one coming out tomorrow. Got a yummy one coming out tomorrow. So if your animals rub against the ivy, you can also get it from petting them.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
So.
That could happen with the dog. She likes to follow us everywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
And she goes deep into the
Everywhere,
woods
yeah.
everywhere. So I could totally see that happening.
They burned the field behind our house. Why do farmers do that?
It'll kill off a lot of noxious weeds
And seeds.
and things that they don't want. Not everything. Like we have our
Cocklebur infestation.
cockleburrs, and those things will literally, if you look it up, they're like the worst pest to try and get rid of. They will survive. Cockleburrs can survive fire. They can survive flood. There's if you spray, it will get rid of them, but you have to spray like 3 or 4 years in a row or something crazy like that. The seeds can like hibernate for years if they need to, for like 2 or 3 years. And so most like a lot of seeds that are like considered pests, if they burn it, it'll get rid of them.
Let them start
Fresh
over.
start, yeah.
You can't plant the same year though, can you? Like, did you have to sacrifice that year or no?
I don't think so. I don't know. Let's see. I guess they do burn. I was gonna say
They do that you don't see it very often.
we see them burn. You'll see them burn like hay fields sometimes, but not like a corn or a pasture field. Like something like, not a pasture field, a planting field. They do burn that too every so often, but not as much, I don't feel like.
J&B has joined our team. Thank
Awesome.
you very much for your membership.
Thanks for joining. We really appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Helps us to continue to create content.
They're a Teal House friend now.
Thank you for becoming
How
a
about
friend. It was like winter wheat.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes too, I mean, this is pretty specific. I know if a crop has some sort of fungus or something that's really like could damage other people's crops, they'll burn it before, so it could also be that if he was growing something, there was something wrong with it and he was burning it, so he didn't affect his other neighbors.
Let's see. Katie says, burning doesn't get rid of goat heads either. I'm trying to get them under control. Yeah, there's a few plants that are just, they are miserable to try and get rid of. Like, there's not much you can do besides pick them up or like consistently spray for years.
The girls helped a lot getting rid of our cockleburrs, just giving them that big trash bin and paying them to fill it. That really made a big difference. And then that year and this year, anytime I see one starting to sprout, because they're really distinctive looking, like you can't miss it amongst the grass.
Now I literally can be driving,
be like, oh, there it is.
Zoom in at 70 miles an hour, and you'll be like, whoa, there's one. I
pick it up before it gets to seed, and that's made a huge difference in our pasture.
Yeah, if you can that's why it helps if you have animals that can cut them down. If you can get them before they get too big, they can't propagate or whatever.
But it's tough, and it gives you a lot of appreciation to like the people who came first, who didn't have any pest or weed control options, and had to make pasture with their 2 hands and some animals. So at least we have options if you're really stuck. You don't have to give up on your field. So
it still blows my mind when I think you look at like pasture that was cleared in the 1800s or even before that. It almost blows your mind how they got it done. It's crazy. Because now you have tractors and big machines that do it.
Anything more on the root cellar? That's a negative. We just don't have the funding at this time to dig it out. But hopefully
we'll get there.
Things will be different soon. It's just we don't want to dig a big hole in the yard and not be able to finish the project. We don't want a kid or an animal to fall into it. So we want to make sure that we're able to see the project all the way through.
We're just trying to build as much suspense as possible. So that it really does happen.
When we get to 1 million subs, I'll dig out the root cellar.
We've got a little ways
to go. So, we are really interested. There may not be anything down there. We're pretty sure it's been filled in, but just to be able to see like how big it was and things like that, be really interested. So
Prep for Eternity is here. Hello.
For joining us.
Yeah, one of our neighbors lived there. Did he say like in the 80s?
Yeah, he lived here in the 80s.
He was pretty sure at that point in time it had been filled in, whatever that means. I don't know if they put concrete and rocks in there or trash as fill, like who knows. But he was pretty sure it had been filled in back then.
We're going to dig it out. We're going to find that $1 million copper penny from 1890.
I don't know about that. But so we're pretty sure that's what he remembered. And we had never talked to. He had family. He said that might know more, but we never were able to talk to them.
He's moved since then. He doesn't live around us anymore. So every time Sam redoes something in this house, he's always like, "This is going to be the time. I'm going to find an old newspaper. I'm going to find something cool." And you rip open the wall, and he's always like, "Only thing there is bad electrical."
That's kind of true. I have been surprised. Now, granted, I haven't torn out like entire walls. We haven't done any like major construction, but I've poked around enough, and yeah, we haven't found very many things.
I still want to see what's in the attic one day. The attic is now sealed off, like they drywalled over it or whatever, so there's no longer an entrance to the attic. I wonder if they, I don't know, sealed anything up there.
I don't know. It would be interesting. Someday we'll find out.
If you go in the attic now, then you would see everything that's wrong with the roof, and we're not ready for that kind of stress, so we just leave it closed for right now.
We'll get there.
One day.
Yeah. Who knows what's up there? There could be some cool stuff.
There could be.
You never know.
Some bats.
I was super excited. Well, I was kind of excited, kind of disappointed. When we bought the house, the shed/barn back there was full of stuff. They actually left us a note that said, "Sorry we left so much junk around here." But I was hoping, I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna clean out that shed." There's all kinds of stuff in like the upper loft area. No, it's just
we did find a cool bicycle that we sold for like $200 or $300.
Did we sell it for that much?
Yeah.
Oh, it was pretty cool.
It was a cool
old
like,
bicycle.
Yeah. That was the only thing.
That was kind of the only thing though. Everything else was just like junk and trash from like the 80s and 90s. I mean, some of that stuff's cool, but
that's almost vintage now.
I know, but it wasn't.
It was
nothing
cool.
to save, nothing you could sell or you'd want to keep. But maybe someday we'll find some cool stuff.
My cousin's friends had a homeless man living in their attic. You sure see this? Wow, I don't know how he'd get up there. 2.5 stories up, no entrance.
Man, that's crazy and scary. Oh man. I don't know about that. It's pretty much sealed off. It'd be tough for somebody to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd get in there. There's not even like a lot of attics have like vents, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have anything.
Yeah, it's pretty much completely
just
sealed up. Yeah. But who knows what you'd find up there. I've heard of that before, like people buy a house and then they go up in the attic and there's like a mattress and stuff up there. Like, whew, that's creepy.
No, thank you.
I don't know about that.
So, all right. I think that's all we got for tonight. I need to do some work before I go to bed. Sam doesn't have to study. He's probably going to do something fun. You want to play some video games?
Yeah, I don't know.
Watch some videos.
I feel bad because I told Laura, I think after like my first prerequisite, or maybe in the middle of my first prerequisite, I was like, man, I need to get back to reading for fun again. Because I haven't, when I was younger, I absolutely loved to read anything I could get my hands on. And then I think I don't know if I got burnt out in college. I didn't really have to read that much in college, but it just kind of went away. And I feel like now that I've had to do a lot of reading for nursing school, I'm like, oh man, I kind of enjoy this again. But I'm just kind of enjoying my break. But at some point in time, when nursing school is over, I am going to get back into like casual reading for fun.
I go through spurts. It's hard to find the time to read for fun.
It's hard to find quiet time to read for fun because there's always something going on or somebody needs something.
Yep.
And then when they don't need something, we're trying to sleep. So
sleep is important. All right, everybody. Next week is Memorial Day, so we will not have a live stream. So we hope that if you are in America, you enjoy your holiday with your family. And then hopefully the week after that, we will be able to do another live.
Yep,
He will be starting
starting practicum. So that's right there.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody have a good night. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for tuning in. Everybody be safe. Thanks for watching.